Welcome everybody to the next episode of the APL Sports Show. The next guest that I have coming in is a former quarterback, former receiver, turned receiver in college, played quarterback in high school. He is the owner and founder of First Down Training. You've seen him blow up everywhere. Everybody's saying they're watching his videos. He puts out great information. Grant Caraway, everybody. Grant Caraway.
Yeah,
what's up,
man.
brother?
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Man,
I appreciate it. Seriously,
you,
yeah,
man. It's like I was telling you earlier off camera, man. You know, for me to be 5-6 episodes in and have somebody like you sit down with me to have a conversation is it's mind blowing.
Yeah,
so I really appreciate the time that you drove down have this convo with me, man. Let's get into it, bro.
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate it.
So, what is First Down Training?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much just like everything quarterbacks, receivers. That's our main focus, obviously. Okay. But it started out as just like training, like local training kids, like like just high school quarterbacks, high school receivers, youth quarterbacks, youth receivers, some college guys now. But then it kind of morphed into see, like when I first started it, I didn't want it to be, just like, hey, it's like attached to my name. I'm just, a trainer or whatever. I really wanted it to be a brand. I wanted it to be a brand where, people would come to this, like something that I never had as a player, right? Because like as a player, like especially, I didn't have, like you see some of these kids now, they got like 5 or 6 trainers, right? Like I had one guy, like that was it. Yeah. And so I was always hungry for information and the information was just never there. It was always like some dude 10 years ago doesn't always talk, like it's just outdated information, right? So it's like, so I wanted to put stuff out there on social media that was actually relevant, actually gave people value. And that was kind of like the thought process. It was like, I wanted to start with quarterback and receiver training in person, but as soon, like I wanted it to be a brand. I wanted people to resonate with our brand and think this is where I'm going to get some value and actually learn something for quarterbacks and receivers. And that was so that's kind of how it grew into what it is now. And now we travel all over the country, 15 different states every year doing camps, so it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. That's awesome. Where the concept, maybe you touched on it a little bit, but the concept, where did you truly dial in and say, this is a concept I want to stick with when I'm training, man? Where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, do you mean like as far as just like philosophy of training, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I think it like I'll start with the quarterback position.
Please.
I think with the quarterback position, it's a lot of outdated information. You get a lot of the old heads, and it's been one way for so long, and then you see a lot of guys that come into the league, whether it's college, even some high school guys, and they're doing things a certain way, and it's like, wow, why are they doing it? How are they doing it? And a lot of it has to do with the biomechanics of their body and them using their lower body correctly. And so my whole, like, the concept I wanted to get across to kids was arm health, sustainability, and just like efficiency and the way that your body works and the way biomechanically your body can work. That was, I guess you could say, the concept for quarterbacks. And then for receivers, the concept was more so just like from almost a football IQ standpoint. Like a lot of receivers, they see the fancy drills. They see, the single leg stuff, and they're doing all this fancy stuff. And like, oh, that's great. I'm sure it works on things. But I didn't see receivers truly developing concepts. Like they didn't know when to use it. They knew what to do. They knew the drills, but they didn't know when to actually apply it. And so that was kind of the angle that I wanted to go. Like I was like one of the first people on social media, at least in the training space, to post videos where I was breaking down film.
Love it.
Where I'm like, hey, listen, this is the guy's leverage. This is how you're going to attack leverage. This is how you're going to run the route. And I felt receivers weren't getting enough of that. And that's what really started to grow the page, because they were like, wow, I'm actually learning something. I'm not just seeing a fancy drill that some guy is posting. I'm actually learning how I can apply this skill. And so that was, I guess you could say, the motivation for the receiver aspect of it. Does that kind of answer your question?
That, man, it did. Yeah, you dove into it great, man. Like you gave me more than what I was looking for, which is great. I loved it. I loved it. And you hit on a few things saying that, you saw, not necessarily calling out trainers, whatever. But you say you saw them doing things that really didn't, break down the concept of why they were doing the drill.
100%.
Yeah, man. You see that, you know what, man, just as in the performance side where I'm at, right? You see it all the time as well. You
100%.
see people put the flashy stuff on there, but don't really understand why they're doing the flashy stuff and everything, man. There's no concept behind why they're training, why they're doing this particular drill. And that's one thing that I pride myself on. Not necessarily saying sticking to the fundamentals, but every training that I sit with my athletes, it's telling a story.
100%.
You know, it's a concept. Why are we doing this training? You know, how it's going to help you. You know, I'm just not going to sit out there and set you up and do cone drills because, you know, it makes you – it puts you in the mind of a PE coach. And I hate to say it that way, but it's like a PE coach. That's true, man, you know?
And from like a business perspective, like how are you going to separate yourself, right? Because like if I'm just going to some guy, like I get this with quarterback trainers, like they'll, or at least quarterbacks, right? Like they'll go to a quarterback coach, and it's just a workout. Like you could do that on your own. You could get your friends and go to a field and do the same exact thing. You know what I mean? So like, am I getting any value from this? And like I think the angle that I always go with, at least training athletes, the content we post, whatever it is the viewer or the client or whoever's listening, are they getting value? Are they learning? And if they're learning, then we're doing our job. That's at least how I feel.
100%, 100%. Like when I have, you know, parents bring me their athletes, their kids and stuff, I got to make sure they getting value out of my training. So if they can look at my training and say, okay, man, he is great. I'm getting value for whatever I'm paying him. That's what matters at the end of the day. You know, the viewership, like you said, man. Man, you gave me so much information right there.
No,
I loved it though, man. That's great stuff, man. Tell us about your journey as a, you know, from quarterback your whole life and then transitioning into a receiver once you got into college, man. How was that journey, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was, I mean, it's tougher than it seems, right? Like I think from like a football IQ standpoint, I think that was probably the smoothest transition, right? You hear like guys, announcers talk about it all the time on TV, like, oh, the guy was a former quarterback, so he knows how this coverage works. He knows how to sit in this coverage. And I think that was probably the easiest part of the transition. And I think the physical stuff was the hardest part. You know what I mean? Like having to catch in traffic, all those types of things are the tougher aspects of it. But yeah, I think from a football IQ standpoint, that's probably the easiest transition, but that's pretty much what I would say.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Now, as far as the IQ level for a receiver and a quarterback, how much different is it, you know, on those standpoints?
I mean, I think there's less to worry about, right? Like, so like from a quarterback perspective, you come up to the line of scrimmage, you're looking at safeties, you're looking at corners, you're looking at the box, you're worried about protection. And then from a receiver perspective, I felt where it's more so we're just looking at the secondary. You know, obviously, like I'm trying to read a DB's leverage. Is he inside leverage? Is it single high, no high? Like, how am I going to structure my release based off of that? How am I going to structure my route based off of that type of coverage? Where am I going to kind of throw, like, for example, if I got a cover 2 shell defense and I'm coming up and I'm an outside receiver, I see a guy who's outside leverage, I see the 2 high safeties, they're wide. Like, I'm thinking, okay, if I'm running a vertical route, somebody to the side, I'm going to settle in the zone. I'm not going to continue to go. I'm not going to have my head down. So that's like, I would say there's less to worry about as a receiver. Gotcha. By no means does that mean it's not a difficult position. But it's very, very physically difficult position. But I think from an IQ standpoint, quarterback's a lot more to worry about.
Gotcha. And I definitely see where you're coming from with that. You know, it's so much things the quarterback does have to worry about when he's in that pocket. You know, when to run, you know, when to pass, throw the ball away and stuff like that. You know, so I definitely understand that. Now, when you were in school playing quarterback, did you have any idea that you potentially could transition to receiver, or they just kind of hit you out of nowhere?
No, it was just kind of one of those things where it was just like opportunity to play. And then I kind of always, you know, it was kind of long-term thinking in that respect, because like I never was like a guy who's like, I'm going to go play pro. It was just always like, I want to go play as long as I can. And I always knew I was going to do the training side of things. And it was kind of like, it was almost like a business move ahead of time to where it was like, there's a lot of quarterback coaches in Southern California.
Yeah, it is.
Not too many receiver coaches in Southern California. So maybe I could be able to train both. Maybe I could do both positions. And so yeah. But I never really saw that. Never really thought that. I was always a quarterback. That was like kind of the first love. And I was, you know, so that was always what I had in mind, I guess.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense, man. All right, sorry to the viewers if you hear. I got my kids here with me today. But, hey, it's a family podcast, man. So sorry if you hear my little guy jumping around and stuff, man. My apologies. All right, sorry. Okay, cool. How did, you know, when you were in college and they told you about, you know, Grant, we want you to switch to receiver, how did you handle that mentally, you know?
I mean, it wasn't too bad mentally, I would say. It wasn't, like, obviously, like, there was a little bit of attachment to quarterback.
For sure.
But I was pretty much like I knew that was going to be the end for me. You know what I mean? Like I knew in college I wasn't going to really. It wasn't like how the transfer portal is nowadays, where like you go to a smaller school, transfer to a bigger school, right? It was one of those things where you're like, I knew that was the end. You know what I mean? Like I knew that was going to be the end for me playing football. So when they asked me to play receiver, I was just like, hey, it's not an opportunity to learn a new position. Obviously, like going forward with training, which I wanted to get into, it makes sense to know another position. So I really wasn't too bad. Obviously, a lot of time and hours went into the quarterback position, and like that's always like my first love in terms of position wise. But yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Gotcha. Did when you told family that the coaches wanted you to switch, how did they feel about it?
I think they felt about the same. You know what I mean? Yeah, because they all knew how I felt about it, so they didn't really think like it was, oh, we want you to stick with quarterback like this. It was just one of those things where it was a pretty smooth transition. I would have to say there wasn't too much attachment to it. I would say,
man. Yeah, it makes sense, man. Some people, it's hard for them to make that transition. Like I said, I know a lot of people who try to make that transition to another position. It's hard for them to do
Absolutely,
that, man. And being that you were able to wrap your mind around, okay, like, this could be the end for me, like, as far as playing football. So I'm going to take what I learned and apply it to my training once I get there.
Absolutely.
That's second level thinking.
Yeah,
for you, man.
It was definitely a calculated thing. It wasn't like just happen to fall into it. It was definitely like that's a big motivation behind it. I would say, because this is something I knew I always wanted to do. Maybe not right away. It was never really like, it was kind of like on the back end. Like my whole thing, my thought process entering college was like, I'm gonna go into be a stockbroker, make a shit ton of money. You know what I mean? And then on the back end when I retire, I'll do it, right? And then I started thinking, I'm like, all right, like, I don't want to do that. Like it doesn't seem fun. So I'm gonna do this, and then I'm like, okay, this makes a little bit more sense.
Absolutely.
So
that makes sense, man. It makes a lot of sense. Okay, now mentally, when you were playing football in high school, every athlete has like a mental state they have to tap into. What kind of mental state did you tap into before your games?
I was always a music guy. So like if I play music, I mean, that was pretty much it. I tried to be I was a pretty like rah guy. You know what I mean? Like I kind of had to like get myself up. You know what I mean? Like it was one of those things like where I wasn't. A lot of people like to be like, more so calm, like laid back, even keel. I wasn't that guy. I like to get a little bit more so fired up to get myself into it. And then I was one of those guys, and everybody says this too, but like I was one of those guys that kind of needed to get hit to get into the flow of things. But everybody says that, you know what I mean? But but it's the truth, right? It's the truth. So
you really did. So you needed to get hit before you really
before I calm down. You know what I mean? Yeah, because like everybody, like I think people are afraid to say this sometimes, but like I get nervous, just like most people, right? And it wouldn't be like I wouldn't just go out there and be like, just like I'm good. Like I'd be nervous and get a hit, then you're fine. And everybody says that though. But that was that was the case. That's at least how I felt. Right?
100%. And I take it to like I played basketball all my life growing up, and they tell you you're nervous up to the game, you're nervous, but as soon as tip off happening, the ball getting in your hand, it's over.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Away. It goes away. You just flow. Yeah, exactly.
It flows right after that. Okay, now with that, the mental side you talked about approaching your games. Does that apply to how you approach your training as well?
I would say so. Like I feel like I think I'm more motivated when I'm like pissed off at something. You know what I mean? Like honestly, I would. A big motivation for me is if I. Like, so on with our social media stuff, right? Like, I respond to every comment. I read every comment. I see every email. I see every message. And it's not all positive. But when somebody says something like negative or talking 100%. Shit, whatever, I get fired up. And that's like a place that I have to go because I know that that's going to make me bring the most out of my athletes. 100%. Like, I actually look for that type of stuff just because, like, if I'm just like happy-go-lucky, good mood, like nothing pisses me off like that, like, I feel like I'm not 100% on my game.
100%.
So I almost like look for that type of fuel to approach the game. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
It's a little weird, but like,
it reminds me of Michael Jordan. Jordan's the same way, right?
I would take that comparison. I would gladly take that comparison.
Man. I mean, if like say I'm a Jordan guy. I was blessed to see him play twice in person. And when The Last Dance came out, and when he said he would look for any bit of motivation, in the tabloids, the newspapers, wherever it was, he just needed one little thing to help him get going. And it sounds like it's the same with you. You look at the comments, you see what, the people that are hating on you and what you're doing.
Yeah.
You see what they're saying.
And I mean, like, I'm not one to like, because I'm a faith guy, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm not one to go back at him and comment back
Yeah.
at him, but I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't read it.
Yeah,
and I read it,
man.
and I actually like I enjoy it because it gets me to a place where I'm like, all right, let's go. You know what I mean? And then when I'm at a camp and we got 80 kids out there and they're ready to learn, and I'm maybe a little jet lagged because it's been a long flight, or it's been we didn't get that great of sleep, and I'm sitting there and I read something like that in the morning. I'm ready. I'm like, let's go. Yeah, let's go. Let's go, because those are the people that I got to shut up and I got to prove wrong.
100%.
And that's what makes me get up and go. So like, yeah, for sure. It's definitely a parallel, because like, I mean, like, in high school, like, you don't really have like tabloids writing about you, right? But like, you have a sports writer say something, or you have like a player on another team say something about you or whatever, like that's gonna fire you up. It's gonna get you going. So it's kind of like you almost search for that, like it's so I enjoy that.
Next question for you, man. How do you get into the spot where you're holding camps across the country? Because that's major, especially in 15 states, man.
Yeah, I mean, ever since we first started, because like social media, like something that I was kind of naive to when I first started like posting videos or whatever, was like, the amount of people that it could reach, and like there are people in places you wouldn't even imagine that it could reach, right? And so we would always get messages like, hey, come to Florida, hey, come to North Carolina, whatever. And like, I'd always be like, yeah, like one day, whatever, like never really thought about it. And then we decided one time, the first feeler we did was in Vegas. And so that was it was a kid that comes down from Vegas to like Long Beach to train with me like once a month, I would say, and they'll drive down and they're like, hey, you should really come out here, like we can get a bunch of kids out. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, so we go down there, we have the camp. It was about maybe like 25 kids, like nothing major, right? We drove, so we're
but
double bedding it, like what I mean, like so like it's one of those things. And then so it's just kind of got me thinking, like, what, I could do this, and I just see that there's nobody doing it, and nobody's going to do it to the way we're going to do it. I think my whole thing was I have a big enough following at the time to where I think I could get people to show up and I won't lose money. You know what I mean? I could definitely break even, and I could definitely make a little bit of money to make it worth the time, right? And it wasn't all about money, obviously, but like, it's a business, right?
It's a business,
I can't be flying across the country and lose a couple $1,000s every weekend. You know what I mean? You can't do that. So that was like the thought process at first. I was like, okay, let's see how it goes. So we started out and we did 9 states. I think the first one we ever did was Tampa, Florida. We had like maybe 28 people show up, right? But again, it was a 2-day camp, and the I guess you should say the promotion of the camp was, you're going to come to a camp, because this is before, like, this is when all the camps were just mega camps. Let's go have them go through drills as fast as we can, right? No coaching, no correcting. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do a camp. It's going to be a 2-day camp, and we're going to actually coach these people and actually coach them up, and they're going to get better, and their word's going to spread. So the first 4 camps, 5 camps, not that many people showed up. It was a grind. It was tough. It's frustrating. But, I felt like we were really doing good. I felt like we were actually helping kids, and every review we got was positive, right? So as soon as I started putting the microphone on me, I got this idea. I got it from a basketball trainer. And now every coach does it. But I got it from, I saw a basketball trainer wearing a microphone coaching up an athlete. And I was like, I didn't really get anything from that video. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know basketball at all, but I was like, that's really just him talking. Like, I want to get some value from this. I could do this. So make the investment, somebody filming, put a microphone on me. And as soon as I started filming the videos, we had like, it was weird because it was kind of the way like just God works sometimes, but it was like one of the first videos we did. 5 million views on TikTok. Oh, wow. 3 million on Instagram, 3 million on YouTube. And I'm like, oh crap, like we got something.
You own something.
And it was like, but the reason why it went is because we were with an athlete, coaching him up, showing him how to correct it, but the viewer was able to get value from it. It wasn't just, me talking. You know what I mean? It was the viewer was like, well, I actually learned something from that. And then every camp we've done since then has sold out.
That's awesome.
It's been, so now it's like we could go anywhere. Like we're going in a couple, like we just went to Portland, Oregon. Nobody
How was it?
Fantastic. Some great, good great kids, sold out camp, but nobody goes to Portland. Like in a couple months, we're going to Buffalo, New York. Nobody goes to Buffalo, but it's sold out. You know what I mean?
Going to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Man, it's going to be cold up there.
Oh
man.
yeah, no, but like that's
cold.
the thing. And but it's like the kids that show up there about it. Like they're like,
man.
nobody comes here. Like we want to get this type of work in, and the people that show up to our camp, camps, like, because it's not exposure. We're not trying to claim that we're going to get these kids offers. Like, it's about, we are trying to get them better and develop them, and they see it through our content. They see it through our videos that, like, okay, this is a place I want to go. Awesome. And so now it's like, I'm confident we go anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah. But it's because of the thought process of we're going to develop these people. And we just got we're very, very blessed to be able to have those types of videos go and get so much traction, because now people see it and they're like, wow, like that's great. Like there's not a lot of camps like that. It's just reps. Yep. But that's not what we're about.
So, and what I'm gathering from all this is kids first. You think about development of the kids, getting them better. That's what I'm getting from this, man.
Absolutely. I think a lot of trainers and a lot of coaches, and not to put anybody on blast, but I think a lot of them get a little too big for their britches, where they're like, well, what am I going to get out of it? My time's more valuable than your time. Like, you're in a service business, dude. Like, you are working for the athletes. Facts. The athletes, like, they come ahead of you. You're not a coach if they're not coming ahead of you.
100%,
you know what I mean? And so, and a lot of guys, I see them go about it the wrong way, and it's just like, it's like, even guys, like, it's as simple as just responding to a message on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like, what are you really in it for? Because I'll see trainers, and kids will tell me this, which is why they're like, I'll get a DM from a kid asking a simple question, and, you know, he's from middle of nowhere, Arkansas or wherever, and he's like,
that's where I'm from.
Right? Okay. No offense. But anyways,
let's go.
So they ask a question, and I'll answer them, and they're shocked. They're like, dude, nobody answers their messages. Nobody talks to me. It's like, well, that's what I'm in it for. Like, I'm here to develop and help you get better. Like, whether it's through a video, whether it's through me answering a question, whether it's through a camp, whether it's through a program I sell, whatever it is, that's what I'm in it for. And a lot of these guys, they get a little traction, they train a couple big names, and then they act like it's about them. It's not about you, dude. It's about the athlete. That's how I feel.
100%. Now you hit it right on the head, man. You see it all the time, you know, where, you know, trainers get that one or two athlete that, you know, get this big D1 offer or are blessed to go pro. Then the whole motive changes.
100%.
You know, they forget their perspective and what they should be focusing on. And I can't see myself ever doing that, because I having kids of my own and knowing how much they look up to me, I can only imagine what the athletes that come to me, how they feel about me. I mean, Coach, you're helping me get somewhere, you know, so I can never see myself changing my motive like that, man. So, but like I said, you know, you're keeping the kids first, and that's great, man. And so, how long did it take you? When did you start? If I say, when did you start this? You know, I'm going to travel and do these camps. What year was this?
2021, I want to say. So, like, right after COVID. So it was like the first couple trips were like when we were flying, we were all masked up, all that. So that's what I want to say it was 2021. 2021 was the first 4 camps were tough.
And that was Tampa?
Yeah, Tampa. So we went Tampa. Second one was Atlanta, I want to say, and then we went to Tampa, Phoenix, Atlanta. Then we went to like New Jersey, and so Jersey was a good one. And then we went to then after that it was I want to say like Dallas, Chicago, Ohio. So we went to like kind of the big ones first, see what we could do, and then the year after that, so I think it was 2022, that's when we sold out all 15, and then the last of 2021 we sold out the last 5, and then this year we're going back to all the states that we went to the first time around that didn't sell out. So it's kind of little, get back we want to get back time. We want to go back. That's so we're awesome, going so we're excited. So
so you start off with 4 or 5 cities. When did you get to the point where you have 15?
Probably 2022. I think when we sold out the last 5 of our 2021 tour, like, so we went Dallas, Nashville, Salt Lake City, and Los Angeles. And Los Angeles, obviously, that's close to home. So, but those 4 in a row gave us a little confidence, and we were like, all right, like, I know what's going to work. I know the type of videos we got to put out. I know how to do this. And then we were like, all right, let's go 15. The 15, just a little insight, like they're strategic. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, you know, like, I'm not going to go to Salt Lake City, Utah, and then do one in Boise. Like, I'm going to go Salt Lake City, Utah, and that's it. And so we're going to pull from Boise. We're going to pull from Utah. You know what I mean? So they're a little strategic in where they're set up. But that was when we decided. We got a little confidence at the end of the tour.
Okay, 15. So are you planning to add more?
I would, I would, like, I go every weekend, you know what I mean? But it's just, it's tough because I got guys that obviously I couldn't do it if I didn't have the guys that were with me, that traveled with me, and the different coaches that come out, you know, like, and so it's, it would be tough to do that every weekend and get them to come with me because they got their own lives, they got their own jobs and stuff.
Yeah,
they help me out, which I'm so grateful for because I couldn't do it without those guys. Because if I don't have a video guy, nobody knows about it. If I don't have another coach, like speed coach, to help me out, that I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? So it's just it would be tough to get that every weekend to get a crew to roll with me every weekend. 100%. I would, but yeah, no. 15 is a good number.
15 is a great number.
Want to add? I would like to add maybe 2 or 3 more next year. I would like to, but timing's got to be right.
Timing has to be right, man. So, what cities are you going to this year?
So we did our first one was in San Francisco. We go to San Francisco every year. It's technically San Jose. So we went there. We went to Miami, which was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of talent. Like
Miami, Florida, man, Florida in general, man. Like growing up down south, man, Texas, Florida. That's what you hear. King of football, king of sports. Texas, the big boys. Florida got the speed guys, man. That's what you hear about, man. So I can only imagine the type of talent that you had at the camps, man.
We had a kid in the Florida camp in Miami. His name's Nashawn Montgomery. He's a 4-star. I didn't know he was a 4-star until the camp, and his coach told me that because his coach was the receiver coach that helped out at the camp.
Gotcha.
And his coach tells me, he's like, he's got like 50 offers, right? I'm like, all right, let's see. Let's see how good he is, right? And just how smooth he was. But I will tell you this, the amount of, because that guy, he's, he'd go anywhere he wants.
Yep.
But the thing about those kids in Florida is that they're there to work.
They're there to work.
There are a lot of guys that I've seen who get the 5-star, the 4-star, and all of a sudden they forget what got them there. Yeah. He was not that way at all. He was one of the most humble, down to earth about the work, and he didn't care about the other athletes that he was with. A lot of guys, what they'll think is they think they're too big for the group of guys that they're in, right? And they don't realize that he's just not at the same level as you. He's trying to get to where you're at, right? And so he did not care. He was helping out the guys who weren't as talented, and he was about the work. Every rep he had, he wanted to get coached up, and that's in my eyes, that's what I think separates that Florida football is they're about the work down there. You know what I mean? So it was cool. Yeah, it was cool.
During my time in the military, I served with, numerous people that were from Florida. Yeah. And that's one thing that they said, man, we're about that work, man.
Absolutely.
If we don't make it in sports, we join the military, whatever it is, and they always grind. Yep. They always grind no matter what they were doing, and like I said, it just transitions to what you just said.
Absolutely.
Those Florida guys, man, they work, man. They work. I really think they have a chip on their shoulder. They really want to prove something.
Absolutely.
And I love that about it, man. I really do, man. So I'm sorry to cut you off. So you said Miami?
Yeah, Miami, and then I think after Miami, we went to Vegas.
Okay.
And then we went to Charlotte, North Carolina. Last one we did was in Portland, Oregon. And then our next one is we go to Dallas.
D-Town.
Then Nashville, Tennessee, Chicago, Illinois. Then we go to Buffalo. Then we go to Atlanta, Houston, Texas. Then we go to Philadelphia,
Philly.
And that'll be a big one. That's we've been getting asked to go to Philly for probably 5-6 years, ever since I first started. Wow. So we got a big
So is this the first time you guys?
First time, yeah. Wow. So it'll be good. It's gonna be a big one, and then and then we go to Detroit, which will be cool, and then we finish. Oh, then we go to Boise, Idaho, and then we'll go to LA. So the LA ones, that'll be easy one, close to home.
So that's LA is the last one.
LA is always the last one. Yeah.
Finish up at home.
Yeah.
Now, is it every other week that you're going, or
every other week? So so we'll go week on, week off, and then we try to take every now and then we'll throw in a 2-week break, just if there's a holiday or something, so I don't get killed on hotels. But we try to every other week is about the rhythm that we're on right now.
So you've been to Dallas before. How was the turnout in Dallas?
Dallas is always good. Dallas is the only state we've been to 3 times. This next upcoming one will be the 3rd time. So we've gone all 3 years we've been doing the camps. We've gone to Dallas, and it was our very first sellout was in Dallas. So that obviously is important to me.
Yep.
And talent's always good. Yeah. People are always great, though. You know what I mean? I feel like the people in Dallas are always very hardworking, of course, but just good, genuine people who are real, and I think that's we like working with those types of guys.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, so I have family in Dallas and Houston area.
Okay.
I was just there for a family reunion last summer and everything, and but like I said, the people there, they're great great people,
Absolutely.
hardworking, like you said, man. A lot of talent in Dallas area.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of talent there, man.
We've noticed it's like because you were talking about like the size in Texas, right?
Yeah, man.
We've noticed that it's not because a big like I would say the primary like clientele of the camps are probably like ages 13 to 16, like like 8th grade freshman, sophomore, I'd say, and the size of the younger guys, they're built like the juniors and seniors out here. You know what I mean? So it's like it's good. It's because because they're usually raw too. Like they don't have as much training as maybe some older guys. So it's cool to work with them because they they got the physical attributes, but now it's like getting them toned in with the technique and the IQ side of things. You know?
Oh yeah, it makes sense, man. It does, man. So 15, man. That's great. You said maybe 2 more that you would look to add.
Yeah, like I said, I go 52 weeks a year. You know, like but it's it's one of those things.
So any cities that you like? I want to go to these cities.
Oh yeah, there's a few. Jeez, let me think. I want to go to Cincinnati, Ohio.
Cincinnati.
That's one that we've been asked to a lot. I want to go there. I would like to go to Jacksonville, Florida. That's one that we get asked about a lot.
Got you.
South Carolina is a big state that we want to go to because we always go to Charlotte, North Carolina. So the South Carolina crowd will always travel.
Absolutely, it's just right there, man.
Yeah. So, but South Carolina is one that we've been getting asked a lot, and then a big one is Wisconsin.
Really?
We haven't gone to Wisconsin.
I mean, it's a football state.
Yeah. We haven't gone. We always go to Chicago, and then the year before that, our Midwest one was in St. Louis.
Gotcha.
So they kind of like Wisconsin's kind of missed out 3 years in a row, so they feel a little disrespected. So like I can't tell how many DMs I get from people from Wisconsin are like, "You got to come to Wisconsin." Like and they get upset about it. I'm like, I'll be there. We're gonna go. So that's one we have to do.
You ever been called actually go to Arkansas?
Yeah, actually, Arkansas. We'll probably do that next year.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, let me know.
I will.
I'm pulling up with you, man.
I got you.
I'm pulling up with you, man.
Yeah, I got you.
Go to home state, man. That'd be good to go back. I haven't been back to Arkansas in a while. It's been a long time. Too long, man.
Where would you say would be the best place? Like, what's the biggest city?
You got to go Little Rock.
Little Rock?
You got to go Little Rock.
Right,
yeah,
Little
man.
Rock.
And where I'm from in Arkansas, it's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours south. So I'm real close to the Louisiana and Texas border.
Yeah, okay.
Real close to it, man. So, but you got to go Little Rock.
Okay.
No lie, it's a city, but it's not like it wouldn't be a city here.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
It's the biggest city there, but that's where you're gonna get more of the talent from.
Okay,
there,
got it.
for sure. They have all the private schools and stuff like that there. So, but yeah, Little Rock is where you need to go, man.
Little Rock, all right.
Yes, sir.
I'll
bro.
be there.
All right, man. So next one I got for you, bro. As a quarterback receiver coach, you spend a lot of time reading, like. What do you do? Documentaries or?
Yeah, I'd say a documentary guy. Like, see, I can't sit there and read. You know, I'll fall asleep. You know what I mean? Like, I'm being serious. Like, I used to be a big reader. Like, I would read a lot of different, like business books or something like that, or like just like books with athletes or stuff like that. So I used to read a lot, but I'm a big documentary podcast. That's what I would say. That's what I'll do. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So what's your documentary that you're watching, man? Or
right now, the documentary I'm freaking loving is and it's been out for a while. I just haven't watched it, but it's the one on David Beckham. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh man, you know what? The missus was watching it. She watched it without me though.
Yes, yeah.
She watched it without me.
I'm a huge Beckham guy after watching it. Like, I don't even like soccer. Like, I hate soccer to be honest with you. But I watched David Beckham.
Bro, you said that in Cali, man.
Yeah, no.
Bro, hey, Coach D didn't say that. Man.
Yeah, right. I'm not a speed coach. Yeah, I'm a football guy. We battle for field space all the time.
Man.
So they, but I'm just like Beckham's just like the competitor, and like I didn't know, like I won't ruin it for you, but like part of the story was how I guess he was on like the national team and how serious they take soccer in England, and he got like a red card and the coach like straight up blames it on him, and so he gets like the whole country hates him. And he's getting dragged in the media, tabloids, all this stuff. And so the next season he comes back, and I won't tell you the rest because it's great. It's a fantastic story.
I gotta watch it.
Stuff like that I love, and then like anything like podcast wise, like anything business podcast, that's always good. I always enjoy that type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, the missus watched it. I came in from training one night, coaching, and she had it up on the screen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit down halfway through it, man. Yeah, man. So I'm gonna have to go in and catch up on it because I did hear it was really good.
Oh, fantastic.
Is there any documents that you or books, whatever, that you refer to your athletes? Like, yo, you need to go read this or go watch this documentary. I think it would help you.
Gosh, that's a good one. I always, like you gotta recommend like the the Michael Jordan documentary,
For sure,
like Last
yeah.
Dance,
Last
right?
Dance,
And then the
yeah,
Tom Brady
man.
documentary is great.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of a book. There was a book I recommend this a lot to my younger quarterbacks. It's called The QB. And it's by last name, the guy, I want to say it's Feldman, I want to say is the last name who wrote it. It might not be him, but it's called the QB.
The QB.
And it's about these guys getting ready for the draft. Okay. And they mention a lot about Johnny Manziel, who had obviously recently been on a podcast talking about it, the documentary on Netflix.
With Club Shay Shay.
Exactly. Yep. So but there's a book that talks about like those guys getting ready for the draft and what GMs look for in a quarterback, like the leadership attributes, confidence and stuff like that. And the book like laid out writing on the wall for that guy.
Really?
And but this was like years and years ago before he even got in the league, they wrote it. So, but I recommend that to a lot of my younger guys because it kind of teaches them how to, not to be a pro, but how to carry themselves as a quarterback. Yep. So that's one I've referred to a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, that's probably one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Producer E, you make a note of that? The quarterback.
Yeah, the quarterback.
We got it, man. Let's go, man. Let's go to quarterback. I might have to check that out, man. And is it an easy read?
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool.
I wouldn't give you anything that's not hard read.
Man,
I'll put the book away.
Yeah.
No.
I'm like you, man. I'm like video guy. I can watch and do stuff like that. When it comes to reading, I mean, I do like to read, but not more than I like watching a documentary or something like that.
No,
man.
I was reading this book. It was like it was called like it's by like it's real rich like oil guy, like I think it was like Carnegie or something like that. It was called like The Gospel of Wealth. And somebody like the title alone's like it sounds terrible, but somebody recommended it to me. I'm like, okay, it's the most wordy book. I like after 5 pages I'm like, can't do it. Like I just can't. So I won't give you anything. It's not an easy read. Like it'd be a third grade level. That's all I can read at.
Appreciate you, man. Okay, cool. All right, next one I got for you, brother. What's your next step? What's next for you in first down training?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously going to keep it rolling with the camps. From a social media perspective. I think there's so much more we can do. Like I feel we're in at least the football training space. We have the biggest audience per se, and I would say the most diehard audience out of anybody. I think on all platforms. Yeah, I think we could grow it even bigger. I think we could double it. With what I want to do. So that's. Obviously, I want to grow the brand as big as we can. Okay. I want to continue to do the camps, do more of the camps, and something that I really want to do is host 7-on-7 tournaments.
Really?
But do it the correct way.
Yeah.
So I think like I see these 7-on-7 tournaments out there, and you got people dropping like $1,000, like teams dropping like $1,000 for a tournament, and I'm like, so what do you get? Like, is there a cash prize or oh, it's just a trophy? It's like, so what I wanted to do, and the hard part is finding referees because referees are very expensive.
Referees are expensive.
Yeah, but we want to do a tournament where we get a bunch of teams and it's cash prize. Yeah. Winner gets a couple $1,000. They actually make money. They don't just get their camp fee back because I've seen other tournaments do that where they just get their camp fee back. So that's something that I think we could do in the future. Man. And I would like to also start doing exposure camps for athletes, but the correct way. So a lot of guys want to set up these exposure camps where it's, come out and we'll have a rivals rep or we'll have a 24/7 rep, these recruiting sites, right? And so it's a scam. Like it's literally like they get all these kids to show up to this camp and they pay them, charge them how much money it is. And they're like, we're going to help you get recruited. And there's one guy there. It's one rep who's supposed to, is he going to write an article about you? Like, what is that going to do? It's not going to do anything. So I want to do a camp where they're legitimate, because they do this in baseball. In football, not that many people do it, and if they do it, it's almost like a half-assed thing. But where we have legitimate college coaches there, they're in attendance, they're there to scout, they're coaching the camp, and we keep it small. We're only maybe having 60, 70 athletes. Want them here. If you're going to perform, you're going to be right in front of a college coach. We're not going to do this bait and switch where we say that like, this athlete is going to, you show up and he notices you, he's going to write a recruiting article about you, he's going to give you stars when all that crap doesn't even matter. And like in some of these companies, man, like they'll do these exposure camps and they will straight up lie to parents. They will go, hey, this coach is going to be here, and the coach is nowhere to be found. And these parents get ripped off, like straight up ripped off. And it's like, so I want to do that and do a camp where we do it right. Gotcha. Colleges are there. You're here. It's not going to be a million kids. You're gonna get coached, but you're also going to, this is where you will get scouted. Absolutely. It's a small environment. So I would like to try to do that correctly. And a lot of people don't think you can do it correctly.
No, you can.
But I think you can, because I think basketball does it well. And baseball, like baseball does it fantastic. 100%. So why can't we do it?
You can. They can. And people, like we talked about earlier, the perspective, they get lost about their motive. When you bring a million kids, it starts to get watered down.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? So if you keep it small, intimate, 50, 60 athletes.
Yeah.
And you have the college coaches there that you need.
Yes.
And that's all you can ask for, right,
100%,
man? So, now it definitely can be done, man. So I'm right there with you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy that football, whoever the football reps, whoever doing this, doesn't think that way like you're thinking, man. It's weird.
I think they just are making so much money they really don't care, and they've been doing it for so long, and they're just kind of like, well, like and maybe some of them are just naive to the fact of it. Like I really truly believe that I would hope that there's more good people out there than bad people, right? But it sure seems like in the camp space that there are a lot of people who just are in it for the check.
Oh, 100%,
and they know. You can't tell me that you think all these kids are going to get benefit from it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell me that. Like, and the whole thing that pisses me off is that they'll send out the invites.
Yeah.
They go, you've been invited to spend $200.
Yep,
It's like, how is that an invite? Like, it's not an invite, right? And so
Yep.
that's the stuff that bothers me, because that makes me question the motive of the people doing it.
Yep.
So yeah, hopefully we could change it. I would like to change it. That's something that
you hit that on the head when you say, you get an invite, but then you got to pay $200 to go.
An invite,
like, and I take it back with my son DJ. He 2 years ago got invited to. I'm not gonna say the name of the
no worries.
name of the All-Star team.
Oh yeah,
but you've been invited to come, be on the All-Star team. As a football player.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm gonna sign them up. I signed them up. All right, now you got to pay $200.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
There's a uniform fee. There's a coach's fee. There's all these fees. It's like
what?
It's not an invite.
It's not an invite.
It's
It's not an invite. And and I said, you know what? I told the guy I was gonna do it, so I did it. And I told my son, like, any other camp that you go to and you're invited, and you're not paying. That's the thing about getting invited to a camp, man,
And that's the thing, like, with the college camps. Like, and I'm not saying college camps are bad, because I think it's great, but like, I think a lot of people go and they're like, so like, let's put this into perspective. Like, let's say it's like, okay, like, let's say University of Colorado. They got a huge camp, right?
Yeah, they do.
Deion's bringing a ton of people in, but he's also starting recruiting in January, right? So they're recruiting very early, when as soon as that contact period rolls around, you got coaches rolling up to high schools, right? So they're already got their guys.
Yeah.
Those guys are at the camp. They didn't pay. They were actually invited.
Yeah.
They were on campus 2 days before everybody else got there.
Was there. Yeah.
So they've already been, they're who they're looking at.
Yeah.
Everybody else there is kind of like, why aren't they looking at me? You know what I mean? It's like, because you're not one of their guys.
They got their guys,
They got
man.
their guys, and those are the invites, not the spam email that you get, or the spam Twitter DM that you get. You're honestly, and I have friends that have told me this, who coached in college that I used to coach with when I was at Los Alamitos. They told me, they're like, listen, man, like, to be honest with you, like, those camps, like, it's just a way for these coaches to get paid in the summer, because these coaches don't get paid that much when you're an assistant or like a GA, right? Like the big guys obviously do, but like if you're a GA assistant,
no,
like,
they do all the groundwork and get paid very little.
Exactly. So they are banking on that camp being huge. So that's why they're throwing out these invites, because they got to get people there.
They got to get people there.
People they have there, the bigger their stipend is in the end of the summer, which is unfortunate, but it's just the way it is.
I understand. I do, and I get it, man. You're trying to grind and make money when, like say, it's only a stipend and you're not getting paid much.
No, you're making nothing, for the amount of time you're putting in. Yeah.
GAs, they put in hella hours, man. It's crazy, man, the amount of hours they put in, and they, I hate to say they don't get paid, but
they don't.
They don't, man.
They don't.
It's crazy. They do all the work. I mean, as far as not writing the program for what they're doing, but they do all the work and just get very little benefit from it, man. It's unfortunate, man. Sheesh, bro. If you mind me asking, how old are you?
24.
24.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're young, man.
Yeah.
Still young. Not saying I'm old or anything, but you're young. Now look, you started 2021, right?
Yeah.
So, and that was a short time ago.
Yeah.
Now, if it's anything that you can go back and tell your younger self, like, to help you get further along than what you are now, what kind of information would you do?
That's a tough one. I mean, I think this is a good one. Being more focused on not the number of followers, being more focused on developing a relationship with our audience. I also own a supplement company.
Yeah,
right?
I was going to get to that, man.
Yeah. So I own a supplement company, and we deal a lot with influencers who we want to try to sponsor, right?
Yep.
And so a lot of the times, like, the first question, or like when an influencer reaches out to us, they go, well, I have 100,000 followers, you should pay me this. I could care less how many followers you have, or is anybody going to buy my product? That's all I care about.
Yeah.
So you could have 5,000 followers, but if 500 people are going to buy from us, I want to sponsor you and I want to pay you. So I think in the beginning, because I'm a young kid, you know what I mean, at the time, so I didn't really know. I just thought, I want to get as many people following me as possible, and I want as many people knowing my brand as possible. And did that pay off? Yes, but I wish I would have been more focused on doing like longer form content where it was like a podcast like this, or doing it like every day, pretty much like Monday through Saturday. I'll go on TikTok and do like a live stream, and I'm talking directly with my audience. And it's not like the most people we get on there at one time was probably 1,000 people, right? So not the size of our audience, but I feel like I'm developing a real relationship with these people,
with the 1,000 that you get.
Exactly, and that's going back. I wish I would have had that intelligence at the first, because that's what matters. Like, those are the people that will come to a camp. Those are the people that are going to train with me weekly. Those are the people that are going to be subscribers on my website because they truly bought in and they feel like they have a relationship with me, which I ultimately want. It wasn't like I didn't want a relationship with them. I just didn't have the perspective of that. And that perspective is something that I wish I would have done, because that's like playing the long game. I feel. And I think I'm starting to get better at that these last couple years, and I'm going to continue to do that. But I wish I would have known that beforehand, because I think it could even be even bigger than what it is now.
And just looking at your following now, it's huge now. And being able that that you could have went back and told your younger self, like, focus on this relationship wise, it could have been bigger for you. That's next level. So that's good stuff, my guy. Real good stuff, man.
Appreciate it.
Okay, who influenced you? Well, who are your 3 most influential people, man?
Oh man, I remember in college watching a guy called Gary V. I don't know
Gary
if you know
V.
who that is.
Gary V.
Gary V was one of the guys who, like, I would be sitting there eating my lunch and I would just be watching it. And I probably watched every piece of video that guy could put out. And he was pretty motivational, I would say, just because it was like, wow, like the way you would approach it, and just talking about content, because I literally in high school before that, like I wasn't an outgoing guy. Like I was not a guy. Like if you told me in high school I'd be on social media posting videos, talking every day, I'd be like, you're full of it. Like, I'm never gonna do it. Like I was uncomfortable doing that. And I was very uncomfortable on camera at first, but he was just one of those guys, just like, do it. You have to do it. Like this is a huge opportunity. So he was, I would say, influential for sure. And I would say probably my parents,
of course,
just because. And it's not like I grew up poor. Like I grew up very, very comfortable life, whatever. But I just felt that when I first started out, like I felt like I could go after things that I wanted to do because my parents sacrificed so much for me and worked their ass off and were totally selfless in the process. And they just were like, they worked so hard so I could have an opportunity to go out and do what I want to do every day. And that was something that really, and I was lucky enough to have that perspective very early on. So that was a driving force of like, listen, I got an opportunity here to go out, not have a care in the world, still have this safety net of parents, and a lot of people, it goes the wrong way, right? Like they have that safety net, like middle class upbringing where they get lazy. They're like, oh, well, like, do I really have to go out and work? But then there's that guy who doesn't have that, who's a killer. He's going to go out every day and he's going to grind because he has to. So how am I going to separate myself from that guy? I got to work 16 hours a day. I have to do it Monday through Sunday. You know what I mean? Like I can't look at myself in the mirror because of how hard my parents worked and how much they sacrificed, to where I could sit there and just go, oh, well, I could take a day off. I can't do that because I have such an opportunity. So that was a big driving force, I would say. That's probably the biggest driving force and what still keeps me going.
That's awesome. That's good stuff, man. Real good stuff. I think, like you said, my parents, I look at my, the people who influenced me, mom and dad, like you said, of course, man. I learned a lot, from Michael, Kobe, people like that as well too. But mom and dad, love them both to death. Really, really influenced me, man. I saw them, especially my mom. She was a beautician. Going to work, long hours, on her feet all day. My dad, was one of the best basketball players to come through Arkansas.
Really?
But not having. His dad was there, but they were so old school that they didn't care if they went to school or not. It was more so, okay, what are you doing? Are you gonna go work? Where you working at? They didn't care about that after high school education like that.
Absolutely.
So to see my dad, go work at factory jobs, then change and go into another factory job, but still continue to work to try to provide for us, man. That was my driving force. Like, I have to take it up a level. And that's what I'm trying to instill in my sons. Like, you see me busting my butt, am I rich? No, far from being rich, right? But you see me out here grinding, you see me working, providing for you guys. this is where you have to take it a step further than what I did, man. So
Absolutely.
like you're right there with it, man. So that really hit home when you said that, man. The last thing I want to, touch up on, my brother too, my little brother, he influenced the hell out of me as well because I knew he was watching me.
Yeah.
I want to be like my brother. I want to be like my brother. I joined the military after he graduated high school. He joined the military. Yeah. He joined the military, man. So, I love my little brother to death. So he, even though he's younger, he influenced the hell out of me because I had to be better so he can follow my tracks to be better as well too, man. And you have a brother I know you mentioned. Who's older, you or?
He's older.
He's
so
older.
Austin's older.
You're right there following him, man, making sure it's same thing, brother. So that's major, man.
I think for him, he just always kicked when I was little.
Let's go.
It was kind of like,
that's what big brothers
right?
do,
Yeah.
man.
So like it was one of those things, like it wouldn't like beat me up or nothing, but like I'd have a friend over. Yep. He'd start pressing buttons a little bit, talking a little trash, and then I get pissed, right? And then they would just laugh at me, and I'm like. Yeah, well, just wait, dude. Like, coming, but I love my brother. My brother's one of my best friends to this day. He's business partner, so he's I love my. But it was more that like, I think I attribute a lot of just like competitiveness that I have with my brother because like how it goes. Like you're just. Everything you do is competition.
Yep, competition. 100%, man. I give it right there, bro. I remember the days of, playing my little brother in basketball and kicking his ass.
Oh yeah, making him mad. Right.
Yeah, man. 100%, bro. Now, I want to touch up on your supplement company again. Yeah. So how long have you been having your supplement company?
Yeah, I want to say it's going on year 3. This company's called AG Labs or ANG Labs. You can find it on Instagram. We're pretty much everywhere. But I think for me, the motivation behind that was I just wanted a legitimate product. I think our brand was growing at the time, or my brand was growing at the time, and my brother had worked with supplements his whole life, and that was an industry that he was in. And then when COVID kind of happened, he got laid off, and so I had always wanted to do something with my brother, and so I was like, hey man, like we should start. We should start our own thing. You know what I mean? Like I got, I had money saved up and I was like, let's go in on this. It should be 50-50. It's something we could do every day, work together, obviously. And so we started it, I want to say 3 years ago officially. And so it's every year it's growing.
That's
so
awesome.
it's just, just got to keep on
grinding.
Got to
keep grinding, man. That's 100%, bro. Is geared towards athletes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we kind of have 2 target markets. So like I think initially our thought process was we're going to try to pull my audience with that audience, and but it's kind of weird, right? I mean, like it's most of I think now it's probably around 70-30.
Okay.
70% is like kind of the fitness audience.
Yep.
30% is my audience, so athletes, right? So I would like to get it to where it's like that 30% grows, and that's what I'm continuing to do more of is like try to incorporate supplements and videos.
Absolutely.
Trying to, what I mean? Like I think now going back to what I said earlier about what I could change, I think when I started that I maybe didn't have as diehard of an audience where it was like we're gonna mess whatever this guy does. I love it. I want to, you know what I mean? Whether it's a product, whether it's a camp, whether it's a video, whatever it is. I think when we first started, I didn't quite have that yet to the scale that we do now. So I think now when we promote the supplements towards athletes, towards football players, which is primarily my audience, we're getting more conversions. Like the conversion rate's higher. But I think our core audience is still that kind of like fitness bodybuilding community. Because that's obviously the supplement community. I would say those are the ones that consume more supplements. So I would say about 70-30, but yeah, that was the starting motivating, or like the starting, I guess you could say, like target audience, right? But then it kind of shifted over time to more fitness, and now we're kind of balancing the two of them.
I got you. Okay, that makes sense, man. Makes sense, brother. Okay, 2 more questions for you.
Oh, yeah,
okay, then I'm gonna let you get out of here, brother. Well, I'm gonna say one more question. All right, one more for sure. With this podcast, if there's any 2 or 3 people that you would like to see on here sitting down with myself, who can you send over to me? But I need you to help me get them now.
Oh,
I need you to help me get them, man.
Gosh, that's a tough.
Because I know you have a huge following, and I've asked every guest that came on, who do you think would be a good fit to sit down? And they normally give me 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, I mean, God, that's a tough one. There's a guy I know who's a sports agent who would be a good guest. I actually interviewed him one time.
That's awesome.
I didn't post it though because it wasn't the interview wasn't the greatest quality because it was
Gotcha.
like, you know, but if it's good quality, he's a great interview because he was a coach. He played for the Saints. His name's Jack Tabb is his name,
Jack
but
Tabb.
he was a and I'll give you this information as soon as we get off
awesome.
here. But he played for the Saints for a bit. He was a tight end. I think he either played at Michigan State, but then he was a coach at Michigan State, and then he's getting into the sports agency world.
Yep.
So he's a great interview because he's got player experience, coaching experience, and now he's an agent, which is a whole nother. That's
a
interesting.
whole
That's
different dynamic. Yeah,
now, especially
man.
with like NIL and
Yep.
all that stuff, because that was what I wanted to ask him
Yeah.
about. I was like, listen, what's the deal with all
What's
this
the deal?
stuff? Like,
Yeah.
are they actually making this type of money or like
Yeah.
what? And so he's a good interview. So
Okay,
I'll
awesome.
send you his information. Yeah, he's a good guy.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
And you know, athletes too, man. Hey,
Yeah.
no lie, I would love to link up with that four-star athlete. That
Yeah,
you
right,
said.
in Florida. Yeah, listen,
man.
oh, yeah. That's like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'll give you his info, too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
he's a good kid.
If you could connect us and have us jump on, a call, man, that'd be next level for me as
Of
well,
course,
man.
yeah.
And everything. Grant, man, can you tell them where to find you at if they don't know where to find you at right now, man?
I mean, so if you guys, Instagram is First Down Training, FIRST. So First Down Training, all one word. And then if you on TikTok, it's Coach Grant Caraway, Caraway, and then on YouTube, First Down Training. On Facebook, First Down Training. So yeah, just First Down Training. Pretty much Google it. You'll find it.
My guy.
So, yeah.
My guy, like I said again, man, for me to be sitting down here, you know, with you, you know, with the amount of following that you have, only on my 5th or 6th episode, I couldn't have scripted this or even, you know, thought of this, man. So,
of
you know,
course.
truly been blessed, you know, to have you here, honored to have you as a guest, man. It's mind blowing. It's just mind blowing, bro. You know, because when I started this podcast, you know, I didn't think it was going to take off the way it's taking off now.
Yeah.
It's taking off in ways that we didn't expect right now.
Yeah.
You know, so like I said, for you to come down from Long Beach area and you know, bless us with your presence, your time, man, and drop knowledge on myself. You know, the audience that's going to be, you know, paying attention to this when they listen to it, man. I'm forever grateful for you, brother. I appreciate you so much, man. Keep grinding, keep doing your thing, bro. You know, the camps and everything that you're holding across the nation. You know, each kid that you meet at the camp, you're changing them in so many different ways, bro. So keep that first, man. Keep the kid, you know, perspective in mind, and you're going to continue to do great things, bro, like you're doing now. And like I said, man, I appreciate you so much, brother. Appreciate you, man. And I'm coming to rock with you up there. I'm coming through, man. I'm coming through, man. Bro, either you need me for dynamic warm-ups, whatever it is, just let me know. I'll pull up. Just give me some time to prep it with the family.
I got
you know, but I'll pull up to any camp that you need me to, bro. Like I said, I believe in what you're doing. It's next level stuff, my guy.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, thank you again for tuning in. APL Sports Show on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube as well. Tap in, baby. Grant, thank you again, my brother. I appreciate you, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Right.